Hello and welcome to another Fathers for All. Today is going to be the beginning of a two-part series, and I'm going to be installing a in-wall cable management system for concealing your cables, and I'm also going to be installing a TV mount in my living room, and this will be kind of a how-to and a walkthrough on how to do those two things. And we'll probably break it up into two videos just so that we can just focus in on one video at a time, or one project at a time. Hope you enjoy. Let's get to it. Okay, so today we are focusing on the cable organization kit with Power Solution. This is a Datacomm electronics, exactly what I read, cable organization kit with Power Solution. And essentially what it does is it allows you to do a wall mount installation and bring power right up behind your TV, and also any data connections like HDMI cables or Toslink cables, all that fun stuff. We'll be covering all that in today's video. Hope you enjoy. All right, the first thing we want to do when any type of install is clear out your area. And right here we have where the TV is going to be mounted on the wall, and we have I've removed a shelf that was on the wall there, and also removed a clock. This bookshelf may move over to the side, but it is not in our way. I've also taken, I don't know if you have like surround sound speakers and stuff, I've used command strip hooks to hold my surround sound speakers for my entertainment system, and those can be easily removed if you want, and I think we might be doing that in lieu of a more simplified system. So in order to move the giant surround sound system, or actually entertainment system, out of here, I lifted up the carpet and slid the whole thing over here in front of the windows. Okay, so another thing I'd really like to do when working in an environment is add appropriate lighting. This little entertainment light or living room light just doesn't cut it. I've opened up the windows. It's still sometimes hard to see, so I've brought in a small little LED work light that's going to illuminate the wall directly, but then I've also added some studio lights. So with my assistants, if they would, please turn on the lights. Adequate lighting always helps. Even if you need a headlamp to see in the holes and stuff, that might help you out as well. So let's get to it. Okay, so the next thing I like to do is to kind of measure out where I'm going to be placing this. And my room, I've kind of measured like absolute center of this room, because I felt like when I mount the TV to the wall, I want to be as centered as possible. And then I kind of measured up, this is like 6 feet up from the floor, and that's just going to give me that kind of theatrical feel where it's not straight on, but it's a little up, so you're looking at it, and the TV has a tendency to feel even a little bit bigger when it's up a little bit higher, as opposed to being down on the ground. So it gives you that nice perspective and nice feel. So this is my center point, and we're gonna get out the stud finder and find our studs to know where we need to put the box, and also for our other video where we need to mount the TV mount to. Okay, so with the stud finder, you guide this along the wall, and pressing the button, it will reveal if there's a solid object right behind the drywall. And dad joke, it finds studs too. So we'll just slide it right along here, and then you can make your mark, and then you can see where the stud ends. And so I've made a mark here as well. Then you can do this process again And so here's another stud right here behind this wall. And you gotta be careful because you don't want to catch a nail either. Sometimes it'll catch a nail, so that's telling me that there's a stud right there. And then, which is a little different from my previous mark. Very interesting. So I've got two marks here. I got a mark here from earlier video that I didn't have any audio on, so I just reshot this. And so I'm just gonna check these out here and just verify that this is correct. So yeah, that's right there. And then that's right there. So I don't know why I was getting a false sense on that, but you can erase that or just rub it off almost, because using a pencil on a wall with some semi-gloss will pretty much clean up pretty easily. If it's flat, it's a pain in the butt. But the TV is going to be mounted right in this area, so any marks you put on the wall right in here are going to be concealed anyways. So that is where we're at. And if we have the measuring tape, we can kind of determine how far apart these are. Measuring tape. Measuring tape. That thing that's in your hand. Hang on. All right, good job. My off-screen helpers are guiding me through here. And this stud's about 14 inches off. And another 14 inches or so off from this one here. I'm going to double check and make sure that. So that's about 14 there. Yep. So this is a 16. So for some reason, the stud finder is telling me that I have a stud here that is a little narrower. Now I don't know if I'm hitting a nail. It's right up here. We have an idea though that this is where we're going to put our box. So right in here is where I'm going to place the electrical box. And we'll go to the instructions and pull those out. Okay, so in this box you have your instruction manual. You have your two voltage boxes that'll mount into the drywall. You have your extension cord. You have your electrical cord. You have your two boxes here to the wall units, and then you have some electrical caps. So I grew up in an era where it was pretty traditional to just toss the instructions and get back into just do the project and figure it out yourself. But I found that many times there is something that's needed in the instructions. And in this case, they give you a nice little diagram and a step-by-step on what you need to do, but also they give you a template. So we're gonna cut this out and use this as our template for cutting a hole in the wall. And with that, I need one of my assistants to get some scissors. All right, so I have my box here, and I wanted to have a box directly below it. And I was thinking of taking the tape measure and just letting that drop straight. But the problem is sometimes that shifts from one side to the other. And I had my daughter in here telling me that my boxes didn't quite line up. So I used a very long level, and I kind of held this straight, making sure that I had a level measurement here and a straight line going down, and I drew a line where I wanted my box down below to match up. And as a result, I have a box that's directly below this at the floor level which will be perfect for fishing wires up and down. All right, so the next part of this phase is gonna get a little dusty, and we're gonna cut into our hole, and we're gonna use a little drywall knife or drywall saw. And this, you can kind of start here or you can start in the center, it doesn't matter. But you almost need to tap this into place and wedge it in. You can hammer it if you need to, but you can kind of see how it just kind of, it's designed to puncture the drywall, and it can be a little messy. Once you have it in, just kind of coming back and forth. Okay, so it's working. Now, the other thing is you can play that with it. Just start it up. This is your but start it over here. Basically, next here. And then you get the tractor and then you Okay, so we have some insulation in this wall that we're going to run into, and that's going to be okay. So I have a fully insulated wall here, which is all right. We'll run and we'll do the same thing down at the bottom. All right, so once you've got your holes created and you're ready to roll with the wire, you want to fish this down from one hole to the other so that it's kind of pre-fed. And then once you've got that done, then you can start fishing them through the gray boxes, and then also through and connecting them up. The interesting thing about this setup is it tells you that this is your black wire to black wire, and this is your ground, and then this is your white wire to white wire. So it's kind of giving you some guide on how to connect these to the proper connection points on the back of the outlet. Now keep in mind, this is not a part of your home electrical system. This connects one outlet to the other down below, and then you will use the extension cord to run this through. Even though that's the case, you want to make sure you get everything right and follow the instructions to a T, because you don't want to risk having this cause a fire behind your wall. So be wise. So we're going to fish this through. Okay, it looks like I was able to get it through. I just had to kind of fiddle with it. I don't know what was here, but something was blocking my way. Maybe some type of to hold the insulation or something. But now I think I'm just pushing wire around. So the other thing you could do is get something heavy to kind of pull the wire through. In most situations, you may not have an insulation backer behind your wall, but if you do, or if you have like foam insulation, it may make this process a lot more difficult, because an open cavity is just so much more easier to drop something through. This happens to be the main wall to my before I get to my garage. So with that being said, I want this wall insulated because I don't want the cool air from the garage seeping into this side of the house. So I'm kind of glad that this is insulated, but it just makes things a little bit more challenging getting the wire through. Okay, so I fished the wire through and it's all ready to go. At this point, you'll take your gray box, just push in one of these tabs a little bit, and feed your wire through this box. And once you've got that in there, it's not going to want to pull back. And this will protect the this will actually recess in here and kind of lock in behind the drywall. Okay, so in this this part here, we're going to be putting these cables around some screws. So I like to kind of pre-curl these with some needle nose pliers, and makes it a little easier when I'm doing the installation. I am not a trained professional. This is just tips that I've learned watching my dad over the years, and things that I've picked up over my time doing home improvement. So if you do not feel comfortable doing electrical work, I must say this right now, consult a professional, a licensed professional in this situation. So alrighty. Okay, so your green and ground is together, and then actually this is going to kind of curl down, and we may need to trim a little bit of that. That might work. White goes to the white, or in this case the lighter silver screw, and black goes to the dark screw. So I might use the needle nose pliers to get this into place, and actually I might take, let's see. Sometimes these wires can be pretty difficult to handle, so these wires might be easier dealt with some needle nose pliers. I don't know if you can see this or not, but we're going to try to make it visible. But really, we're just screwing this final screw into place, making sure all the contacts are solid. And it's really not, there's no exposed metal there. So you see here we're fully connected. That's a nice tight fit. You don't want it loose. If you're concerned, I've seen this where people put electrical tape over these, but I don't know if that's really good, because you're going to have the box that does everything. I've seen with electrical and without. So, and then it's just going to insert into here, and you might need to lift this gray tab up in here. Let that slack come back out, because it kind of is a stop. It prevents the slack wire from coming out. So now we have this whole thing together, but you don't want to do that quite yet. Don't install this quite yet. You can install the box, which you're going to have to do anyway. But before you install this box, you install the one below. If you have an opportunity to, if you want to fish a HDMI cable, I would say now is the time to do it, because then you can run the cable through here and get all your cabling through the wall now while it's easy, and then kind of go from there. This is the part that goes on the bottom, and this is correct. So this will get installed here, or just flip the whole thing. What am I doing here? Why am I making this more difficult? Make sure that when you install this, that your ground is up and that this opening is facing down, so your cables can travel through. Now, got this right. This is how it's going to install, and this is going to be a proper installation. The wire will go straight down and come straight out. So now's a good time to fish any HDMI wires and stuff through, and then you'll have them ready to kind of loop through here before you install this top part. All right, it's been about 30 minutes since I last cut, because I was looking for an HDMI cable. HDMI cable is the digital cable that will send the audio and video signal from your TV to your from your Xbox to your TV, or any type of game station or home entertainment system. Also, you want to also have you might want to send a Toslink cable, which is a cable that sends a digital signal to your sound bar through the wall. The reason why it's taken me so long is because every single HDMI cable I was coming across was 6 to 7 feet. That doesn't include enough length to, once it's out of the TV, to get to the TV where it needs to go, and then once it's out of the wall, and then once it's out of the wall on the other side, to get to where it needs to go. So ideally, if a company is going to send you an HDMI cable as a complimentary thing, that's nice if the length is right. Otherwise, when you buy a kit like this, or buy a TV mount kit and they say HDMI cable included, if it's only 6 feet long, then it's not going to be enough. I apologize. My dog is clicking and looking at me like I'm going to do something. I'm going to see if he needs to go outside, and we're going to get this cable strung. Also, another tip: before you feed any cable, whether it's Ethernet, HDMI, no matter what you're feeding through the wall, please take a moment and use some tape to tape the end of the cable. That way, no dust and dirt gets in the inside of this. Which reminds me, I'm going to string an Ethernet cable through here as well. That way, I can have a high-speed internet signal coming into my TV, so I can stream all my videos and movies and stuff without having any problem. Or if the TV is connected to a home network, it comes over smooth and quick and easy without having to worry about Wi-Fi issues. So if you have the means to get an Ethernet cable to your TV, this is the time to tape off the ends of that Ethernet cable and install it through your wall. Hope that helps. All right. It's taken me forever to get this done. I'm having trouble fishing these flimsy cables through this wall with this insulation in my way. So what I'm working on doing now is I've taken something flexible, but yet has some weight. I have this very long metal ruler. I also have a metal wall on a coal drill. But we're going to try this out. This is thin, and I've duct taped this. I'm trying to do 2 wires at once. Probably too much. Probably why I was running into resistance, because the wires were going everywhere. But I don't want to have to fish 2 wires through. So once I get 1 wire in, we should be in good shape. So I got my Ethernet cable and I got my HDMI cable. The ends are protected, and I'm just going to slide this down here ever so slowly. This should go right along the wall. And that. Question is, now that I've got this in, will it make the bend to come out? So here's my problem that I got now. This may be too long to make this bend, but we're going to give it a try. I'm going to give myself some slack on this cable. Look at that. Let my mistakes, my failures, and all my pitfalls, and all everything I learned, I pray that this helps you out, because this has been a bear. This was a cable that was installed in my bedroom in a similar setup, and I didn't install these things properly. So this part down here was facing down, and I had done that so I could get a cable up from the basement, which gave me some headaches too. All right, I've got the wires fed through. I got the wires fed through the bottom. I'm just gonna attach this box to the wall first, and then get this thing attached to that. The top will be done, and then I'm gonna wire up the bottom box and attach that as well, and we should be pretty close to being done. When you're working on the wires on the lower section, you may need to trim up the slack, but just give yourself a little bit of play. So if you need to pull these out, you got a little bit of play in there. Let's get to it. These little things are supposed to spin up and lock that into place. This one didn't, so I backed it out. I didn't force it. In fact, you may need to back them out a little bit more. And to give you an idea, I guess I'll show you what we're talking about. So right here, this thing is sliding along this, and if your drywall is particularly thick, you can back it up, and that's going to send this piece out. The goal is for this thing to flip up and then draw in and pinch the wall with this piece on the other front side. So you may need to give it some slack in order for that thing to bite in there. Let's see how we do. Hold this piece here, come out against this side of the wall, advance, and it doesn't appear like this thing wants to lever up, so let's see if I can get my finger in there and cause it to move up as well. It might be because of the drywall. The insulation that's in place. And I think that's exactly it. That bottom piece bit. This one I had to stick my finger in to get it to come up. Remember, go kind of slow on this. Don't force it, because you're working with plastic. It would be one thing if it was a you know, you're working with these little plastic pieces. So if you force it with the drill, it's gonna snap and break, and then you're gonna be pissed at what happened. So yeah, be patient. You'll get there. Don't do this right before you have a party or a game. Do it a couple days beforehand so you have time to mess with or bump into any hang-ups or setbacks that you might experience. Okay, so the other thing I'm looking for, all right, there should be 2 screws in this set that will interface right here. I gotta find those. I'm gonna try to use these to tighten it up, but if I don't have those screws, it's gonna be a pain in the butt. Okay, I felt a little bite there, that's good. And okay, that, nothing. Neither one of these. So this is what I'm saying, it's like a pain in the rear. And I think what's happening is the insulation is preventing these things from falling down. I'm going to advance those out a little bit. And then I'm going to have to make a little, use my finger to create a little gap for these things to kind of fall down and help me out. I'm not going to block them. See. No, not that. I think this was designed for a recessed wall, you know? Okay, I got the top one to drop. All right, so I managed to get these locked in. There's like a little set screw or set nut on the back here. And when I advanced this far enough, it kind of caused this to engage a little bit with the drill. So instead of riding along it, it stopped. And then it was locked in such a place where it would stay in. The other thing too is you can notice here, there's some little grooves that it can lock into, which is very advantageous if you can get that to connect right away. So that's how that worked out. I did find there's a screw package that was enclosed in each one of these. So we're gonna open these up, install these in, and this top part will be done. Okay, a very nice installation there, and we'll have our power, and we'll have our Ethernet and HDMI that'll go into the TV. I got a lot of extra slack so they can get to where they need to go, and then I can take any extra slack and wrap it up on the articulating arm of the mount. That way, if the TV gets pulled out or moves around, there's some slack to work with, and it's not pulling the cable trying to through the wall. So let's look at the bottom and get that finished up. All right, I've trimmed off a little bit of this cable here and trying to, you know, this is gonna be quite a bit, so trying to just replicate what they did here. So when you snip it off, you'll have this, and then you just wanna do some gentle cuts, not really cutting into the black or white sheath underneath, and you just pull on it, it will actually stretch out and come off there. And so this is pretty good. Don't have too much. Yeah, I think we're looking good. And this is a looks like a 14 gauge. So if you have a pair of wire strippers, you can go to the 14 and just set that in there. And if you want to have a length of what was set up by the manufacturer, you can do that by just kind of picking what they had there. That's just about maybe half an inch. And just put your wire around that, twist it, and that should cut into the sheath. And actually just rip that off, and there's your exposed wire. I don't know what else seemed like to work, but in this case, the ground is wrapped. It's just some paper on it. So we just rip that off. Okay, so once we're going to end, we're going to take the needle nose electrical wire pliers, and we're just going to, actually we don't need to do that for this box. Okay, in the last clip I was installing this box on this side, which would mean that this thing would be upside down because this would have to meet over here, and as a result the opening for the cables would be facing down. So installing it this way, you have a clear path for the cables to come through. However, the thing that I noticed is the cables are crisscrossing. So you have a cable going this way and your electrical cable going the opposite direction. So I don't know why that's done that way, but I'm gonna get this box installed and get this project done, and I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Okay, so you're gonna take these little pieces here, spread out your wires. Once again, warning, do not wire this to your home system because for some reason that's bad, even though your home system is going to be powering this through an extension cord. I don't know. So I make these. Everybody's got to cover themselves legally so they don't get hurt or busted or sued. So it's always a pain in the butt. So you keep these two together and stick that on there. Twist, twist, twist until it gets tight. And that will actually wrap those wires up together very tight and very nice. So you take this little piece off here, once again take these two wires, put them together, and just twist till they're nice and tight. Looking for my third one here. These two together and repeat. Oh, this one was always tough. I don't know why. I think it's because that copper wire is so smooth. This is where it gets kind of difficult because you gotta kind of stuff your wire in here. Make sure they don't come out. Kind of curl it around. As you can see, I've already. Ooh, it's a little tight. Why is that tight? I don't know, maybe we didn't cut this template big enough. Looks like we didn't cut big enough. It might be a tight fit, but we're gonna make it work. So I'm running into a problem here and up here, so that's just an easy fix with the saw. We'll do that and get this party started. All right, this installation took me all freaking day. It might take you only an hour or two if you don't have a lot of insulation on the other side of the wall. But in my case, it took me all day, and I'll tell you why. So in my instance, I didn't really give this project enough time that it was due. I was dealing with my kids throughout the day. I had a great day, don't get me wrong. I took my daughter to cheerleading practice, and it was her first time ever, and it was a great time for her. I stuck around. I didn't want to bail out on her because it was the first time ever for her to do something like that, so I wanted to be involved with that. And then I had dinner with some family. And so I did this in chunks today. I started with the setup of the room last night and this morning, plus I was recording everything, so that added a lot more time. So technically with this project, it might take about an hour. That was what I'm thinking, but with me getting all the tools, and then I had the difficulty of getting the wires in, I had difficulty getting this wire out of my other room, which I wasn't using a DVD player anymore, so that added another 40 minutes because the wire got stuck. And that was partially because my installation on the previous unit was backwards. And I think this wire got hung up on this HDMI cable in the wall. So that, along with other issues of just getting the right tools to fish wires down and all that, and fighting with the insulation, it took me a lot longer. And my next video I want to get to is putting up the mount for mounting the TV, which I would assume it's going to go quicker since I've already measured my studs out, and I'm hoping that that goes really quick, but we shall see. My biggest fear, and I should have looked at this, I might have a problem with this interfering with the mount. So it might have to go up extra high. Now that I'm thinking about it, did I screw myself? I don't know. Maybe I should have done the mount first and then this. I don't know. I hope you've enjoyed this video today, and I hope it helped you out. If you have any questions or comments below, hit me up. Once again, I am not a licensed professional. I'm just a dad making an archive for those without dads, or for dads themselves, to see how I do it, so maybe you can learn and look for my mistakes before you make them yourself. Hope you have a great day, and hope this helps out. Take care.